Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Let me check my volume. Let's see. Hope everyone is doing okay this morning. It is 9:31 on a hump day. Hump day Wednesday. As a fair warning, this was not the story that I intended to do. I had another story queued up last night. I think it was like 1 something in the morning. I had another story queued up about Tony Blair pushing for war in Syria. I am going to take a chunk out of Tony Blair's ass. Yes. That video will be next. And just as a heads up, coming up tomorrow, Tim Canova is going to be here at 1 p.m. The week after that, on Wednesday, Jordan Sheridan is going to be here at, I think, 5 p.m. And Gerald Horn is going to be here at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. Central. All right. Yeah, 5 p.m. Central. I don't necessarily know how to start this per se, because I haven't necessarily fully thought this out. I know what I want to say. I don't necessarily know the order in which I want to say it, so I'm just going to start. This was like, not, sorry, again, I intended, so let's say it this way. I am going to give the congratulations to Cenk Uygur, Ana Kasparian, the hacks on MSNBC, the hacks on CNN, the hacks on Fox News. To a lesser extent Fox News, because Donald Trump is in the bag for, these guys are connected to one another. Congratulations. You got him. This is your brownie moment. I want you guys to come out to your platforms, and I want you to strut and shake in the same way I come on this platform and strut and shake and say, we got him. Now, you're not going to say that. What you're most likely to say is, yeah, Donald Trump is probably not going to follow through on this. Donald Trump is, whatever you're going to say, is not going to be in light or some kind of favorable thing to Donald Trump, to seeing that he's catered to your whims. That the things that you've wanted, this idea of escalation, him being a Putin puppet, that he's catered to those whims. And this morning, Donald Trump tweets this. Our relationship with Russia is worse now than it has ever been, and this includes the Cold War. There is no reason for this. Russia needs to help us with their economy, something that would be easy to do, and need all nations to work together. Stop the arms race. In coordination with Russia vows to shoot down any and all missiles fired at Syria. Get ready, Russia, because they will be coming nice and new and smart. You shouldn't be prepared. You should be partners with a gas-killing animal who kills his people and enjoys it. Assad is such an animal. He's not even a human being. He's such a gross, disgusting animal that he gasses it on his people, and he's in the bathtub naked, singing about it. He's singing some Muslim tune about it. Okay, fair enough. What Trump is responding to is this. In chilling escalation, Trump warns that missiles misled will be coming to Syria. Right here, this. Russian envoy to Lebanon. Any U.S. missiles fired at Syria will be shot down. Hang on that. That's not some podunk country in the boonies somewhere. This is Russia, a nuclear power, in alignment with China, in alignment with Iran, clearly in alignment with Syria, North Korea, and most likely Turkey. That's a world war. You understand that the United States can invoke NATO over stupid shit like this? This is a world war. I'm not being hyperbolic. That should terrify you, that I am not being hyperbolic when I say that. The United States will shoot. Russia is saying in this document that we will shoot down. Not only will we shoot down the missiles that are fired at Syria, we will also destroy the elements that fire those missiles. Meaning, if those are U.S. forces that are in those areas that are firing those missiles, we will destroy those elements, we will destroy those implements. That is Russia attacking directly the United States. What do you think the United States response is going to be for something like this? What do you think the Cenk Uygurs, the Ana Kasparians, the MSNBCs, the CNNs, the Fox Newses, what do you think the responses entirely across establishment media going to be for something like this? Oh my God, Russia has just attacked us. Oh my God. Now, you understand that Russia has its own media, China has its own media, Turkey has its own media. All of those countries have their own media. And in the same way the media in this country is screaming that they are in the right, they are incorrect, their media is going to be doing the same. They're dragging you into a war on false pretense. Not just false pretense, even if their pretense was right, what they're talking about doing would be wrong. That's what I'm getting across to you. These people are at best useful idiots, at worst complicit and involved in this particular process of doing this. Just not to keep this one for too long, but you should know where Syria is. Before the world ends over this, you should know where Syria is. It's right here. That's Syria. Just to spread out a little bit. That's Iran. That's an ally. That's Russia. All this. That's also an ally. Here's Turkey, who's most likely also an ally. Here's the catch. Syria, the government of Syria, have said, we are in alignment with this guy. From a legal standpoint, this government can say that they're in alignment with Russia. There's no issue here. Governments align all the time. There's no right or wrong in doing it. That's their alignment. The United States has asserted that it can put forces in this country against the will of this country. That's amazing. But they do it. They assert it. The American public say, okay. They don't question that. They don't think that's weird. That one country says, we can put our forces in your country. You can fuck all if you don't like it. That's an amazing disposition, but that is the disposition that American public takes. That is bizarre and fantastic. But that is the disposition that it takes. Unquestionably. It doesn't look at that as being weird. It doesn't look at that as being odd. If someone did that here, if another country said, if Mexico or China said, look, we're going to put U.S. troops in Florida, fuck all, what would be the disposition of the American public? And yet the American public doesn't see it weird one iota that we do that and assert that right in one country after the next. Illegally, by the way. Assert that right by one country after the next in terroristic framework in one country after the next based on our own definition of terrorism. Let's go back to the map. We have been working with terrorists in this country to take over this country. Those terrorists who we've been working with, who we've changed the name from terrorists to moderates, they're terrorists, they're Muslim extremists, will implement Sharia law if they take over this country. Even if you think you have a just war, do you actually need to go to war? Especially with the consequences. It is empirical what the consequences will be, because we saw what the consequences were in Libya when the same powers made the determination upon themselves to go to war in another country illegally. They did it illegally. They're trying to do the same thing in Syria. They've created a pretext. There's been no investigation. They don't care about the investigation. There was no investigation last time and they fired those missiles. And you find Mathis saying, we didn't know who actually dropped those canisters. We didn't know who did it. Because they didn't care. The point was regime change. The point was we wanted to get rid of these guys. Donald Trump says we're taking our forces out of Syria, and what do you know? A gas attack. A gas attack that only helps the terrorists, by the way. Only helps the terrorists. Assad has freed 90% of the country. He's in alignment with Russia. His government is stolid and propped up. And all of a sudden, Trump says he's leaving, and all of a sudden there's a gas attack. This smells. This seems fishy. This seems contracted. The New York Times has reported that the terrorist has access to chemical weapons. Right off the bat. You destroyed the pretense. In knowing that, like any sane and rational person, once you tell them, look, the terrorists also have access to those things, they're the only ones who have any reason to do this, this makes no sense. A rational, sane person looks at that and says, you're right. This makes no sense. The narrative that these guys are running with makes no sense, and yet they're running with it nonetheless. We're supporting terrorists in this country. Look back at Tulsi Gabbard saying this aloud. Look back at Tulsi Gabbard passing the bill that stopped arming terrorists. Look back at the reporting that shows this. Look back at the reporting that shows us funding terrorists even in Libya. This is what we've been doing to undermine and try to take down this government, claiming that these terrorists were somehow involved in a civil war, as if it was the people who were there who were doing this. Fact is, those people, the refugees who were coming out, chose a side. Not because they thought he was an awesome fucking guy, but because he understood that the terrorists were worse. The people we've been supporting. Just so we're also clear, this is the United States. In case you didn't know where it was on the map. If you notice, Syria, all the way over here. Where are you? There you go. Is not NOT on the border of any country in the United States. I'm unaware that my constitution extends to Syria. I'm unaware of that. I didn't know that. What I do know, whatever I know about history, constitution, all that stuff, is that the president is bound by laws. If the president, with all the powers of that office, if the president is not bound by laws, then the president is a king. And I was never taught that. The American public was never taught that. The kids are in school right now were never taught that. There would be something fundamentally different. And that needs to be explained to the populace that the president is a goddamn king. And he doesn't necessarily need congressional authority to take action on military intervention, especially when that military intervention is directly involving us into a larger conflict with Russia. Whatever the nuclear clock, whatever the nuclear scientists have set the clock at, they have been woefully mistaken in where they should put that number. That number should be at 1 minute to oblivion, if not 30 seconds or 15-second increments to oblivion if they don't have those things already posted on the clock. This is a big fucking deal. If any society digs through the rubble, and yes, I'm being hyperbolic now, but if any society, technological society, alien culture, whatever, comes to this planet and is picking over the rubble, and they want to know why this took place, how did these fucking idiots fuck it all up? How did they do it? They had their issues, they had their problems, all of the problems that plague humanity for God knows how long, they've had those things. But they could have possibly worked the shit out without necessarily killing themselves in oblivion. Yes, the environmental stuff was hazardous, but they might have found a solution to something like that. But killing yourselves is ridiculous. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. And all of these people, lefties, who've been pushing for this, congratulations. You may actually get what you want. You may get what you want. Or at the very least, what you stupidly have stumbled into. This was done for political effect, if any of those cultures want to know. Take a look back at this. To put a timestamp in history. That's good. Sooner it's clarified, the better. The stronger, the better. Trump's video, if we don't have proof, the campaign should assign 100 people to look for it ASAP. There's probably something on tape somewhere. Essentially, make shit up. If you don't have proof, quote unquote, find it. Get a bunch of people to do it. You have $1 billion. December 21st, 2015. This asshole should have been with his kids, but he was thinking about Hillary Clinton and fired up. He's with her. Best approach is to slaughter Donald Trump for his bromance with Putin, but not go too far betting on Putin in Syria. Why does he want to do that? Why does he want to do that? Why? Why does he want to do that? He's looking for any brick he can use to hit Donald Trump with. And he understands that Russia and the American public have this odd historical thing. Let's bring back the Red Menace. Let's bring back these things of Russia's at our gates, Russians at our doors. The Ruskies are building nuclear weapons, and there's a deficit between us, even though there's not a deficit between us at all. He wants to bring that back because he understands that Donald Trump's strength in that election was, I want to be conciliatory towards Vladimir Putin. That was one of his strengths. Use his strength against him and beat him over the head with it. Beat him over the head with it. And that's what they did. They beat him over the head with it for political effect. We need this president who came into office saying he's going to be more conciliatory towards Russia, less hostile. They all hit him over the head. Why is Donald Trump okay with Putin? Why is Donald Trump okay with Putin? It seems that Donald Trump is controlled by Putin. Donald Trump is an animatronic robot controlled by Putin. Donald Trump is a Manchurian candidate. One news station after the next. The lefty MSNBC all of a sudden became hawks. Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, Axon. What are we doing about the weapons? Vladimir Putin's new weapons. What are we doing to counter this? All of these outlets looking to some level of escalation. You've gotten your wish. It's done for political effect. They hit him essentially in the area that was his strength with the public. America first. Fuck around with these wars. America first. You have some useful idiots of the bunch, like I would consider TYT. You have people like MSNBC and who are stenographers, CNN, Fox News, to some degree, stenographers who mind the modifications in the way they view the world. And then you have people who are in the party apparatus, who comes to certain conclusions in this cynical fashion. And how do we accede to office? How do we accede to power? And what level of brinksmanship do we need to do to accede into office against this particular president? He is going to run on the economy again. He is going to run. Whether anything is happening in the economy or not is besides the point. He was able to do it last time. He was able to marshal force and win. How do we go after this guy without bringing up the glaring problem with this guy, meaning economics? How do we do it? But do it in a way where we're credible and in a way that doesn't in any way shine light on our flaws. We don't have to deal with the reason why 1,100 seats have been lost. How do we do this? Hey, I know a way. Let's bring back the Red Menace. Let's bring back the Red Scare. We're going to attack him on these issues. He's strongest. We're going to attack him on Russia. And we're going to scream Russia at the top of our lungs in every microphone that we can find. And those sniveling bitch stenographers are going to turn around and repeat every word that we say because they hate his guts and the intrigue of a president colluding with a foreign power puts asses in seats. Rachel Maddow is doing fucking amazing. I bet she's going to get an amazing race. If you wonder why it all ended in a ball of glory, that's why. Political effect. We're going to stab America in the side in order to get into office and accede to office because we don't know what we stand for. We have no values at all. We are just vacuous. We are a tool of the establishment, of the plutocratic class. And our only job is to get in office by hook or by crook. And in this case, we have no glaring qualities with which to run. So we're going to scream Trump and Russia. Trump and Russia. Trump and Russia. Dead babies, Russia, Trump. Dead babies, Russia, Trump. That's why. Political effect. It all ended for political effect. I understand that some people may think Russia and Trump are working behind the scenes. That's because you're some level of a hill pot and you've been propagandized to MSNBC if you believe that. Do you understand that World War I started under odd pretenses where all of these people were shocked to shit that they were in the middle of a war? Do you understand that when Kennedy was in office, this level of brinksmanship that these guys were exhibiting almost got them into war? They barely were able to pull back the hawks that were in their countries who were pushing for this war. If we fire our nukes right now, they may destroy the eastern seaboard, but we'll get all of Russia. I'm just saying, if you wonder why it all ended, it was for political effect. It was for a bunch of hacks, and it was a bunch of useful idiots, all falling along in the process of some party that doesn't have anything to stand for on its own, so it has to use shit like this in order to get elected. Their plutocrats told them, how dare you bring up class? And since then, they've stopped bringing up class. You have a few. In the wither, Bernie Sanders doesn't consider himself a Democrat. I consider him a company man. But he's a company man that I'd vote for. Whatever you want to think about me for doing that. Yes, I don't necessarily have perfect values. But the majority of these guys have been pushing an angle that have made the president more hostile towards Russia. You have two political aims in this. He says he wants to be conciliatory towards Russia. Break him on that point. Break him. Break him. Make him lie to his people. Make him lie to the people who he said, his supporters, who he told he's going to be conciliatory and focus on America Matters. Make him lie. And President Trump, Donald Trump, for whatever you want to make think of him being a strong man, has bent the knee. He has bent. That's Trump. In this moment, sending off tweets like that, fucking around with a foreign power while he's in a country illegally, going on evidence where none exists. I ended on this. 20 minutes is far too long for me to just bitch about. I'm annoyed. So, I don't know who's here this early in the morning. In fact, let's see. I'm no neck and I approve. Bob. Oh, Bob. We're talking about a fucking nuclear war. You're joking. That's hilarious. I'm Mr. No Neck and I approve of Jamal voting for Big Top Sanders. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. Trump canceled his trip. It's more than just tweeting Spartan Guard. That's what I said the other day, man. When a president cancels his trip, he's doing so because he wants to be in the president is safest when the president is sitting in a bunker somewhere when they're taking operations. They want his ass somewhere where they can keep an eye on him and make sure he's safe. If he's traveling, he can't do that. If he's canceling his trip, he's giving out a notice. The president is canceling his trips and keeping his ass at home. He's about to do shit. This is more than tweeting. These are not Nerf bombs, Uyghur. Yes, for whatever reason, I have a certain amount of hostility towards Uyghur. The Nerf bomb shit aggravates me like nobody's business. It's a bomb. What is a fucking bomb going off in somebody's country? And what is the perspective of the country when bombs go off in their country that is not from their own country? What did that happen here? Like, I'm making a point that how do you look at the world in this jaded way? Where you consider bombs going off in somebody else's country as, he was conspiring. He was conspiring. Those were Nerf bombs. They were soft bombs. Nikki Haley is his personal puppet. Yes, Nikki Haley is his personal puppet in the UN. And she's been flipping the fuck out. She's been hysterical in the UN. And by the way, they've been fighting in the UN. The United States and Russia have been fighting in the UN and have not been able to come to any conclusion or any kind of agreement. And you can understand why. You guys have set off a fucking false flag and we've called it as such. The United States says it's not a false flag. The Russia says, where's your evidence for this? And the United States says, we don't have any evidence, but we don't care. We don't care. Nikki Haley is a warmonger. Nikki Haley is a warmonger, and their walkout was embarrassing. Can't believe these are the people who are representing us. Can't believe it. The American public looks at all of these things with a certain amount of, we don't like you. Talking about the Democratic Party, the Republican Party likes even less. Donald Trump likes a little bit more because he's a personal individual and he can't necessarily spread blame on the whole thing in the same way. But this is a rebuke of government entirely. The polling that takes place on these guys is a rebuke of what these guys have been doing in that office. If the people dig through the rubble and they want to know, how did the public allow this? The public functions under a system. The public believes that the system itself is greater than the individual that's part of the system. And to some degree, that's true. The problem is when certain other people get their hands on the system and the system becomes somewhat illegitimate. That's the problem. You have a society that doesn't necessarily know how to take control of the reins of that system, not realizing that they entirely control the reins of that system if they assert control of the reins of that system. People are concerned about their jobs. People are concerned that they have access to the things that they need. And that somewhat is a leash. That is a control stick. People don't think they're in slavery. They think they're freedom. They're asserting their freedom while being in a certain amount of slavery. They're complicit to the system because they full well believe that this system is required to supply the things that they need to take care of themselves and their family. They're less likely to get involved in what takes place in Congress when their needs are on the line. In a different system, where people have access to the things that they need and having access in a way that is not completely entirely dependent on whether or not they can get out there and work for those things. They would be more likely to have more control over their political process because they would have more time to care about their political process. This is a control mechanism. You have no such thing as freedom in a control system the way this is. They scream at the top of their lungs that they're free. They are not free. It's the opposite of that. In fact, your country is inexorably leading you to war, and people are going to go to work. They're going to eat their Wheaties. They're going to play their Xbox. They're going to have sex with their wives or husbands. Just saying. I'll end it on here. It's 25 minutes. I hope everyone have a decent day. I'm going to be right back. I have one that I queued up last night that I want to do. So, all right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support through Patreon. Thanks, everyone.